Hello guys, it's Zealous here, and today we're continuing game logic. Now it's out of the way, let's get into it. Marketing. In order to sell a game, designers and companies had to think about who's going to buy it. Former game designer Brian Tinsman divides a board game market into four categories: mass market games, hobby games, American specialty, and European. Mass market games are popular classic family and party games that are usually found on the shelves of big stores. These games include Monopoly, Scramble, Taboo, Boggle, Cranium, and most kids' games. Probably have some of these games at home. Hobby games are more complex. Fans may play games often and regularly buy new cards, figurines, and expansions for the game. Role-playing, war game, and collectible card games fall into this category. American specialty games are American games that aren't mass market or hobby games. These include strategy, sports, and mystery games. Apples to Apples is a popular example of an American specialty game. In this game, players take turns judging each other's choices for inclusion in certain categories. European games, as discussed earlier, originate mostly from Germany. These games tend to be more strategic and thoughtful than mass market games. Strategic and thoughtful than mass market games. Today, many non-European game designers and companies produce European style games. Most popular European style games, European style games include Settlers of Canton. What's this? Kirishun, Ticket to Ride, Pandemic, and Puerto Rico. All these different types of games are marketed to audiences through various types of media. These include television, magazine, newspaper, and online advertising. Game companies spend quite a lot of money researching ways to get the word out about their games. Can you think of any game advertising you've seen lately? What were they like? Do you think they were convincing? Do you want to buy the game after watching? What is ads? One game designer compared developing a game to sculpting when designing a game. He crammed everything he could think into that game. But during development, particularly during playtesting, he trimmed away all the excess stuff to reveal a great game that works. Prototyping and playtesting repeatedly is all about getting the game ready for people to buy it. We look at pretty amazing games that are available to play right now. What about the future? What kinds of games are we going to be laying out on the kitchen table in the years to come? We'll look at some ideas in the next chapter. Future games. Humans have been playing cards, dice, and board games for thousands of years. Tabletop games are more popular than ever. Despite digital alternatives such as video games, every once in a while a game changer comes along and creates a whole new type of tabletop game, such as CCG or RPG. We still play board and card games. Speaking of game changers, go check out the video where I explain about Chapter 2. Unless you already watched that. Otherwise, just continue watching the video. Yeah, in the future, we may see digital technology and games influencing the way we play tabletop ones. Look what happened to smart homes become more common. How will the ever increasing role of technology in our daily lives affect our gameplay? And what's next in terms of imagination? Where will all our brainstorm take us? Essential question. What kind of virtual reality game would you like to design? Legacy games. In most video games, as well as in role-playing games, where you can progress for many levels until you get to the end of the game. When you log off, the game stays your place. Later, you can pick up right where you left off. Legacy Games brings this idea to the board game. In 2011, designer Rob Davu, 1970, created Risk Legacy. Similar to the original game Risk, the Legacy involves players battling for world domination. Risk Legacy changes each time it's played. Players' decisions in the first game affect the game the next time you play it. Those decisions also physically change the board game. Players place stickers and write on the board with permanent markers. They open sealed packets if certain conditions are met, such as the first battle with free missiles or the construction of the last city. The game changes for 15 play sessions. This legacy concept didn't catch up until a few years later. In 2015, with pandemic designer Matt Leacock, Rob Davu released Pandemic Legacy Season 1. Players progress through the levels of the game, changing the board or other components as they go. The game evolves just as the viruses do. Pandemic Legacy Season 2 was released in 2017. Why might a game that works this way be so much fun? One thing, it's almost as brute though. Players are getting to play a new game every time. This increases the challenge along with the novelty of the play. Players don't get bored the 10th or 11th time through. The inactivity of these legacy games is another reason for the popularity. Not only is the game changing and challenging you to make decisions, the players are changing the game. This dynamic creativity is a pleasure for players to experience. Following Pandemic Legacy success, several other legacy games were released, including Gloomhaven. It's been described as Dungeons & Dragons in a box. A really big 20-pound box? It's a really big box. Gloomhaven is a series of Dungeons & Dragons like campaigns that players work through. The game itself acts as a dungeon master, as with other legacy games as you play Gloomhaven. You make choices and change the game. Each dungeon takes about 2 to 3 hours to play. The whole box taking 150 hours to complete? I'm going to finish that. Digital integration. In 2015, XCOM, the board game, was one of the first to use a digital app. As players work together to battle alien invaders, the app coordinates the aliens' plans and slay the planet. The app is necessary to play the game. Today, a handful of board games use a digital app as part of the game to play. More often, games include optional apps. The Night One series of games, for example, includes an app to help time players and lead and fruit each round. Other games use apps to keep track of certain cards or hit points, or to make the setup easier. Smart game tables. What if you can make a game table smart? A few companies are proposing to build smart game tables. For example, Playtable, which is still in development, is a 24-inch touchscreen table that acts as a digital board game. It can interact with physical game pieces, cards, and even smartphones. Players can play face to face as well as against others around the world. Avid gamers, particularly of Dungeons and Dragons, and other games that use maps, already build DIY smart tables. These are particularly made of a large flat screen TV embedded in the large wooden gaming table. The screen displays maps or other graphics from an attached laptop or tablet. What sorts of possibilities these smart game tables open up for players? What kind of games might they be able to play that they can't play now? 3D printed games. Instead of buying games at the store, or you could download and print the board game and its pieces at home. A 3D printer can use plastic and other materials to create three-dimensional 3D objects, such as game pieces. As 3D printers become more affordable, hobbyists have already started making their own games components. On sites such as My Mini Factory, people design and share 3D designs of game pieces as well as many other objects. Game pieces range from miniatures for wargaming to fancy chess pieces to goblins or Dungeons and Dragons to themed sellers of Canton pieces. Automated reality games. Augmented reality (AR) is an interactive experience that blends the real and digital worlds. Pokemon Go is one of the best known AR mobile games. Players use the app on their smartphones to battle monsters in real locations. The real world and virtual worlds blend together as you travel to different places. Look at your device and manipulate the app to interact with the characters. AR goggles or helmets let you play even more games. Imagine being able to play a board game using AR technology. Recently, an iOS game called Star Wars Jedi Challenges was introduced, which does this. It lets you play holographic chess, just as it's played in the Star Wars universe. Either an iPhone with an AR kit or an AR headset. The game in front of the player. The game is projected in front of the player. AR might be a natural next step for some tabletop games. An AR version of Clue, for example, might appear in front of you on a tabletop just like a cardboard version. But you can play the game with friends and family who are far away. Distance would no longer keep you from playing with people in other parts of the world, just as you could with online video games. Did you know Star Wars Hot Chocolate? Star Wars Holochess was actually called D-Jack. This kind of display might not be too far in the future. Yes, that is. So far, a few startup companies and Kickstarter campaigns are working on this type of AR game. One of those is HoloGrid Monster Battles by Tippett Studios. An animator for Industrial Light and Maddie as well for his own studio. Phil Tippett, 1951, designed the 3D animated aliens for the real Star Wars holochess scene. Inspired by that scene, Hologrid combined a collectible card game, tactical strategy, and AR. Players collect monster cards and fight them on the holochess like board. Okay, almost done with the book. This is one last page. Escape room board games. In the last few years, escape rooms have become popular. An escape room is a physical adventure game. Players have to solve a mystery or a series of puzzles in order to get out of an actual room. Usually, you visit a fee about 20 to 40 each. Then you spend a fun hour solving the puzzle together. Now, several game companies are making escape board and card games. These let you set up your own escape room at home. As with physical escape rooms, these board games usually have a theme. For instance, when playing escape room in a box, you solve hidden clues in a mad scientist's lair to prevent from turning everyone into werewolves. In general, the most new tabletop games don't rely heavily on digital technology at this time, and perhaps they won't in the future either. After all, tabletop games are filling the play just as they are today, and the future of the industry is brighter than ever. Sales of tabletop games keep rising every year. More than 60,000 people flock to Gen Con, and twice that many gathered and smiled in Essen. No, they don't. Germany to check out new games. We're in a golden age of board games. This golden age may be part to be due to technology, not in the way you might think. Board and card games may be booming because we need a break with technology. Video and mobile games are fun, but many of us stare at screens all day. We are playing games, watching TV or videos, looking at social media, doing homework, and so on. Humans are social creatures. We need to spend time face to face playing a new board game that makes interaction fresh and positive. What do you think? And that's for today's video and book. I know it's a little short today, but that'll be it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and see you again very, very soon. Later.